Have you ever noticed your favorite snack bag feeling a little lighter or a product looking smaller, even though the price tag hasn't changed? This isn't an accident. It's a deliberate strategy known as shrinkflation. But why do companies opt for this subtle reduction instead of simply raising prices? The answer lies in a fascinating interplay of economic pressures and the intricate workings of human psychology. When consumers first encounter shrinkflation, the immediate reaction is often one of frustration or even a sense of betrayal. It can feel like a company is being dishonest, subtly taking something away without explicit notification. This perception is entirely understandable, as trust is a cornerstone of the consumer-brand relationship. However, from a business perspective, these decisions are rarely made with malicious intent. Instead, they are a calculated response to a complex web of incentives. Companies operate within a dynamic economic environment, constantly balancing rising costs with consumer expectations. Understanding these underlying incentives allows us to move beyond mere frustration and gain a clearer, more analytical perspective on this widespread practice. At the core of shrinkflation's effectiveness is a fundamental aspect of human perception. Consumers are remarkably sensitive to changes in price. A slight increase on a shelf label is often noticed immediately, triggering a cognitive alarm. This immediate awareness can lead to negative emotional responses, such as feeling exploited or deciding to switch brands. Conversely, changes in product size or quantity are far less conspicuous. A reduction of a few grams, ounces, or pieces often falls below our immediate perceptual threshold. This phenomenon is sometimes referred to as the just noticeable difference in psychology. We tend to register significant changes, but subtle alterations can go unnoticed for extended periods, allowing companies to adjust without triggering an immediate backlash. Consider the myriad products we encounter daily. A box of breakfast cereal might subtly reduce its net weight from 18 ounces to 16 ounces. A package of cookies could contain 2 fewer biscuits, or a roll of paper towels might have fewer sheets. The price remains the same, creating an illusion of stability. If these companies had instead raised the price of the original, larger product, the consumer response would likely be swift and negative. Many would perceive the price hike as an immediate financial burden, potentially leading them to seek cheaper alternatives or reduce their consumption. Shrinkflation, by contrast, allows companies to manage their costs while maintaining the perceived affordability of their products, at least initially. Despite its economic rationale, shrinkflation often leads to a breakdown in consumer trust once it is discovered. The feeling isn't just about receiving less product, it's about a perceived lack of transparency. Consumers value honesty and respect from the brands they support, especially concerning essential goods. When a company makes a change that impacts the value proposition without clear communication, it can feel like a breach of that implicit contract. This erosion of trust can have long-term consequences for brand loyalty, as consumers may feel their intelligence has been underestimated. It highlights the delicate balance companies must strike between managing costs and maintaining a positive relationship with their customer base. Beyond consumer psychology, the economic realities faced by businesses provide a compelling reason for shrinkflation. Companies are constantly grappling with fluctuating input costs. The price of raw materials, such as agricultural commodities or petroleum-based plastics for packaging, can rise unexpectedly. Labor costs, transportation expenses, and energy prices are also subject to significant volatility. In an environment where these costs are steadily increasing, companies face a difficult choice. Constantly adjusting prices upwards can alienate customers and create logistical challenges with pricing systems. Shrinkflation offers a more discreet mechanism to absorb these rising costs. It allows for gradual adjustments without the constant need to reprice products, which can be both costly and disruptive to supply chains and retail operations. From a behavioral economics perspective, shrinkflation leverages powerful cognitive biases. One key concept is loss aversion, which posits that the psychological pain of losing something is far greater than the pleasure of gaining an equivalent amount. A price increase is perceived as a direct financial loss, triggering a strong negative reaction. Conversely, a slight reduction in product size is often framed differently in the consumer's mind. It's not immediately registered as a loss of money, but rather a subtle change in quantity. This framing effect allows companies to mitigate the immediate negative impact on consumer perception. Decades of research in consumer behavior consistently demonstrate that people react more strongly to explicit price changes than to subtle quantity adjustments, making shrinkflation a predictable and often effective strategy during periods of inflation. Understanding the mechanisms behind shrinkflation doesn't mean we have to endorse it. However, it does provide a more nuanced and analytical perspective. Shrinkflation is not a random act. It is a predictable and rational response by businesses facing specific economic pressures and operating within the constraints of consumer psychology. It is a symptom of broader inflationary trends and the challenges companies face in maintaining profitability. By recognizing these underlying drivers, we can move beyond simply feeling frustrated. We can begin to interpret inflation not just through rising price tags, but also through the subtle changes in product value. This analytical lens empowers us to be more informed consumers and to better understand the complex dynamics of our economy. One critical aspect of shrinkflation is its often permanent nature. Once a product has been downsized, it rarely reverts to its original quantity, even if input costs stabilize or decrease. This means that the cumulative effect of shrinkflation can lead to a significant, long-term reduction in the value consumers receive for their money. It contributes to the feeling that inflation is more persistent and impactful than official statistics might sometimes suggest. This phenomenon has significant implications for consumer purchasing power and the accuracy of economic measurements. While official inflation metrics track price changes, they may not always fully capture the erosion of value due to shrinkflation. Developing an awareness of these patterns allows us to critically assess the true cost of living and make more informed purchasing decisions. It equips us with the clarity needed to navigate an evolving economic landscape, reducing the frustration that often accompanies a lack of understanding. On this channel, our aim is to provide clear, calm, and analytical explanations of economic phenomena that impact your daily life. We believe that understanding these complex dynamics is the first step toward making more informed decisions. Shrinkflation is a prime example of how economic pressures and human behavior intersect, shaping the marketplace in subtle yet significant ways. We encourage you to become a more observant consumer. Pay attention not just to the price, but also to the net weight, volume, or count of your favorite products. Share your observations and insights. If you've noticed a particularly striking example of shrinkflation, or if there's another economic concept you'd like us to explore, please share it in the comments below. Your engagement helps foster a community of informed and critical thinkers. Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to continuing this journey of economic discovery together.